My name is Anthony Moore. I'm the CEO of American Eagle Gold. And with me right here is Neil Prouse, Charlie Gregg, who lead our NAK project. We just came out with a banger, hole 17, over 240 meters of 1.16% copper equivalent. Amazing. Neil, tell us about why does this excite you, and why is this a big game changer for our project?
Yeah, this hole was collared about 250 meters to the west of hole 11, uh, and was drilling back towards the Babine Porphyry stock intrusion. One question we had after drilling hole 11, hole 8 is, what is the true width in this east-west dimension of that nice high-grade mineralized zone? You remember in hole 11 we hit just over 100 meters of 1% copper equivalent. So we were understandably very excited about that. So the goal of hole 17 was to expand our information near surface to the west, and also to cut across that zone and really see, what is it doing in the other dimension? Were we drilling down it? And thankfully the answer we got from that is no. We hit much higher grade over a longer intercept, and it's showing that this area of mineralization, this zone deeper into the west of the historical drilling and the historical near surface mineralization, has broad intervals of very nice disseminated gold, copper, molybdenum bearing sulfide mineralization, punctuated with some very high grade zones, some very compelling veining, molybdenite, chalcopyrite, bornite, all within these really kind of distinctive pink anhydrite veins, and that seems to carry some of the really high gold grade, and with it copper and molybdenum. So yeah, very excited about this, and I think it just shows the potential for scale here. Yeah, we're excited to continue to explore this. We've got a lot of room to the south, a lot of room to the north, and wrapping over to the east as well. So yeah, a lot of work to do, but we've got a really good footing here now, and it shows that we've got some very high grade mineralization here.
It looks like we have just a big box of mineralization. You said scale, but this is looking like high grade scale. And I'm seeing tenor here that we see in the Golden Triangle, and we have all the advantages of infrastructure. I think one thing I want to emphasize is that the closest drill hole to NAK 23-17 historically on this project was 250 meters away. We didn't know if we would hit something. We were hoping we would. It's quite an ambitious step out. But Neil, what does this tell us with, how much further this mineralization can go to the west? And can we step out even further? And does it come to surface, you think?
Well, yeah, and so that's all tying into the work we're doing in the off season here. We have some newly acquired IP data that we're processing and integrating with these results right now. Preliminary showings show that there is a strong correlation between an overlap between middling resistivity and chargeability. And that correlates very nicely to where we're seeing these metals come in, copper, gold, molybdenum. So early indications are that may trend closer to the surface, to the west, and continue to the north, and then wrap around to the southeast. So yeah, part of that is going to be expanding that IP survey to give us some more confidence down at depth. But yeah, right now it's encouraging. There's, again, more near surface potential, and I mean, as you can see from those plan maps, there is a ton of room to the north that is completely untested and very encouraging, both in geological proximity to known hosts of mineralization, these conglomerates, the diking that brings in mineralization, and that Babine Porphyry intrusion itself, all within a similar IP signature. So yeah, we have a lot of stuff to be excited about, and a lot of good information to follow up on next season.
But as someone looking in, like an investor, I would see this, and what I always try and tell people is we pretty much did blind drill holes in 2022. Mostly were vertical, and we hit. But this year's program wasn't really based on a lot of geological and geometric data, because everything was vertical along a fence. And this is the first year we did big incline holes. All 10 of our holes were east-west holes. So, if we're able to do what we did pretty much on next to no geometrical information, what can investors expect when we start putting everything in a model, base things on IP, and actually have a full season to really target?
Um, you can say that that we were sort of drilling blind, but we weren't really. We were following a sort of a broad scale geophysical feature defined partly by the VTEM and partly by the IP too. There's sort of an elevated IP within a larger, really elevated IP donut that kind of helps define the NAK system and show that it's large in terms of at least a pyrite content and the historical drilling, of course, showed that there was copper gold mineralization there. But we were following that northerly trend, and you're right, drilling steep holes for the most part, and therefore, kind of proved that this trend, was well mineralized way down deep. Not necessarily the highest grades all the way down, but holy smokes, it was a very, very big system going north south. So then the question obviously arose was, what's going on east west? What are the east west dimensions to this northerly trending system that we drilled down deep? This northerly deep system, I guess is how you'd put it. And that's kind of what we did. We drilled east directed or west directed holes, and again we saw that this stuff goes way down deep, and obviously is pretty broad and wide. And I think what we've gained this year is a bunch more information. We've seen what geophysical techniques might help us even further. And we know that if we keep drilling like this, we're going to keep hitting. And when we keep adding to our database geologically, I would say in a large way, we're just going to be able to target better and better, and maybe better define these high grade zones and put some big tons on the high grade zones within just what could be a very, very, very almost immense system. So a lot of tons of supportive grade around something that's really, really high grade and would make starting out on the NAK project pretty economic.
Charlie, you're an investor, you're a technical advisor. What gets you most excited when all of a sudden you saw the assays for 23-17?
Well, I guess, Tony, what's always kind of excited me about this project is that it's something that's doable. You're not fighting, topography as much. You're not fighting avalanches to get in there, that kind of thing. So it's something that can be done in a responsible way and in an economically feasible way. So you didn't need, like you say, golden triangle grades necessarily, but man, if we can get them, then it makes it very feasible, and it's just a real wealth generator for everybody, not just investors. The people in the region, the people that live in the Babine area, and broader in central BC. So it's pretty awesome that way.
Look, I just want to kill people with really great assays. I think after last year, after hole one, people thought that was kind of the peak result that we could give them, that we came out with 8 this year. We beat it again with 11. We beat it again with 12. We beat it again with 17. And what you're seeing here is a progression story. The more we understand the geological body, the better our results are coming. So when people see that hole that we had over 400 meters of 0.92% copper equivalent, don't think that's the ceiling. That could potentially be the new floor for some of the other stuff that we can hit next year. We have some great geological team. We're coming up with hits everywhere. And as you always said, Charlie, you can only be lucky so much. This really is a true system. I don't think it was loved previously. Average depth was 169 meters. And, we're finally starting to understand what is there. So it's really exciting. So, Neil, before we leave, do you have anything else to add before we cut off?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously we're talking about hole 17 because it's phenomenal results. But the other holes in this release, the hole 14 and 13, which we stepped out and drilled to the west in the northern area where we were hitting our good bornite grades. there are still some fantastic results from those. Hole 16 as well shows some very good results down deep, and a broad zone of very solid mineralization as well. That's showing that the results from hole 17 very likely extend to the north. And even hole 15, it was still punctuated by some very nice zones of good high grade. There we're getting a little bit further into that high chargeability phyllic halo. But it just goes to add to our understanding of the model and the system. So, overall, I would say this was a very, very successful drill program. Obviously, we ended on a high note, but that's all leading to more good results next year, and really hoping to hopefully get some proper numbers on this thing, and just show, yeah, like Charlie said, the scale.
But we always talk about the different zones. We chatted before. Maybe it's not different zones. It's probably all one zone that connect, and almost looks like a potential boomerang that can go from hole 9 all the way to 17 and then back up northwest of where we're drilling and hole 4, etc. Is that kind of the case that we're going to try to want to prove?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of space in between these holes. Even in the areas where it looks like fairly tight drilling, there's still big area in between there to expand, explore, and really properly interpolate between these zones, as they're called right now. We're more leaning towards viewing this as one cohesive system. There's different metal zonation within different parts of it, but that's just because of the scale. There's quite a complex relationship between the different styles of mineralization and the different feeder dikes that we infer are bringing in this mineralization. But it's all very likely related to an event or a coincident confluence of events here that are responsible for this very large footprint.
So Neil, we're seeing high grade in all these different holes, all over the property. I've seen enough that I would think that it's probably coming from some high grade source somewhere on the property, whether it's underneath, deep below, or laterally to the side. Do you have any thoughts about that, and how you guys plan on finding that treasure chest?
Well, I mean, when we look at the different styles of mineralization we have, and the different textural and compositional character of the mineralized dikes that we're seeing, it might not just be one source. It's likely exploiting the same initial structural feature. There's a big north-south trending fault that runs right through the center of the Babine Porphyry stock intrusion. This is inferred from geophysics and other regional faulting in the area. So there's likely a structural control to this. But as far as pinpointing that source goes, yeah, that's a work in progress. Not entirely sure at this juncture what that's going to exactly look like. Bear in mind, we still haven't found a good body of solid mineralized porphyry intrusion like you would often find in the outer margins of a porphyry deposit. We're seeing a lot of mineralized host rock and a lot of what we're interpreting to be more distal mineralized diking. So yeah, there's, as far as have we found the prize yet? Perhaps not. I mean, maybe the prize is this confluence of dikes and very amenable host rocks like these conglomerates we're hitting, and maybe that's going to provide the great support to potentially make this a mine. But yeah, right now it's still early days, so these are all questions that are yet to be answered.
What do you think, Charlie?
Yeah, I think I don't think we should always be looking for some some silver bullet. I think we got a number of silver bullets, and those silver bullets are a number of phases of diking that, when you look at the core in detail and the analytical results that come from that core, you can see that each one of a number of phases of diking brings in grade. So you put those things together in one place, something bringing in more grade over top of something that was already there, it just increases the grade. And perhaps it's something as simple as that, which Neil alluded to, but maybe there is a prize down there. And how are you going to find that prize? Just more drilling. And there's a lot of space out there to drill and a lot of attractive geophysical and geological targets to test. And I'm confident, with our hit ratio and the fact that this system is so large and is mineralized, maybe not all at the very top grade, but it's mineralized all the way down in every hole. We got a lot of potential for sure.
All right, well, that sounds very intriguing. Thanks, Charlie.
Yeah.
So my uncle, introduced us to this project. He said from the beginning it was the second best geophysical target he's ever seen. He died on August 31st, 2022, before our first assays are out. And, since November 2022, when hole 1 came out, only 13 months have passed. And it's crazy how much progression we've had. Hit on 17 of 17 drill holes. A lot of these projects you see in South America takes 20 years to get to, where we are right now. So we got the advantages of having great infrastructure. We've had a lot of luck, but I think the luck is the fact that we kind of have a really great system. So I trust you and Charlie and your geological team to start to understand this and, give investors even better results next year and prove up the system. Because in the end, we want to prove that this can be a mine, and we're on the way there.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's the goal.
So thank you very much. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Neil. Amazing job. Really excited for 2024. Remember, investors, we're funded for a drill program next year. So off to the races. Let's understand this data and let's start drilling as soon as we can.